of course, looked at it and saw that there were no cracks in the head, so it must be around the valve. To confirm that, we can put a little baby powder in here, and this baby powder will not only tell us that it's the valve, but show us where around the valve it's actually leaking. So we'll drop some of this baby powder in here, and of course it gets just about everywhere else. And now we're ready to put some compression onto this valve and let it leak, and it will show us exactly where the leak is. What's going to happen now is when I pull the prop through and put compression in the cylinder, that baby powder is just going to boil in there and it's going to become cloudy. But I'm going to do it several times, and it'll blow that away, and then we'll be able to see the lines in the baby powder and see exactly where the valve is leaking. So here we go. You should be able to see the lines around the valve now, showing us exactly where the leaks are. And it turns out most of the leaks are on the bottom side of the valve, behind the valve guide, so it makes it a little tough to see. So now that we've absolutely are assured that that valve is the one that's leaking up there, and we want to make sure that we can now hold that valve in place and work on it. First thing I need to do is find top dead center on here on this piston. And the way I'll do that is I'll take an old pencil with an eraser on the end, and I can hold it in there, and I can bring this prop around until it pushes on the pencil there, and then when it starts to go back down, right there, I know it's at top dead center. I've put a piece of tape up here on the prop so I know what blade I need to be paying attention to, because like I said, we don't want to drop that valve down into that cylinder. So the next thing I want to do is move that piston down just a little bit by turning that, and then the next thing is I'm going to put a rope into the cylinder, and that rope then is going to hold that valve up into the valve seat so it doesn't drop down. Well, we have all of the rope now in the cylinder. We have about 30 feet of 1/4-inch nylon rope in there, and the nice thin rope will give us good packing in there. So I then raise the piston, pull it around with the prop, and pack that rope up tight against the valve to keep it tight against the seat. Then I went ahead and took the rocker arm off, of course, and the valve springs off, and put on our nifty little valve grinding tool here that we made. It's safetied with wire, so it can't come off the end of the valve. We certainly don't want that to happen. So now I have a little room to work with here, a little room to play, and if we look inside the spark plug hole, you can actually see the valve all the way around. It's a beautiful shot in there, and that's where we're going to put our valve grinding compound on the valve. So come in here and take a look at that. I'm turning the valve slowly so you can see it in there, but by putting light down through the exhaust stack, exhaust port, we can see the valve moving in there and see all the way around the valve now. It looks really quite good. There's no pitted area. I think we can lap this and be successful. So the trick will be to thread the needle, get the grinding compound on there. And we only want the grinding compound on the areas we want it on. We don't want it to get in other places that it shouldn't be. So that's looking good. Okay, we have our valve grinding compound on the valve that we've applied through the spark plug hole very gingerly and very carefully. We don't want that grinding compound anywhere but on the valve and the seat. It's going to be tough enough to get it off of those without putting it someplace else where it shouldn't be. So the valve is away from the seat with grinding compound on. We're now ready to take our nifty little tool here and pull the valve up against the seat and grind it. notice I've put a mark here. We're going to grind a little bit in maybe 50 or 60 degree increments. So we'll grind it here for a little bit, and then we'll turn it 90 degrees and do a 40 or 50 degree grind and turn it on around. So I'm going to pull it up against the seat. There we are. And grind. Okay, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and do that again. And we do that all the way around the valve. Okay, we've completed the lapping process. It actually took us 3 times to get it to look just like we wanted it, both through the exhaust port and through the spark plug hole. Nice, unbroken grayish line all the way around the valve. Looks good. We were able to inspect part of the seat. That looks good as well. We've cleaned it as much as we can, and that's one of the secrets of doing this. You've got to get that grinding compound out of there as best you can, and we think we've done a pretty good job on that. So our next move now is to bring our prop down, which I've done, tighten the rope back up against the valve, and holding the valve in there very, very solid. So the next move then after that is to cut the safety wire off our tool, pull our tool off, put our springs on, rocker arm, and then actually before we put the rocker arm, we can check our compression. So that'll be the big test, and that'll be the next move. Well, we think we accomplished something here, but here comes the true test. We're going to once again compare the compression on what we know is a good jug with the jug that we just did. So let's do that right now. Here's number 4, cylinder number 4. It has good compression. One more time. All right, that sounds pretty good. It feels pretty good. Pressure on the prop feels about right. So now let's take a look at number 3 up here. This is the one we just did, and I wouldn't expect it to be as strong as it will be. It will probably get better. There may be some particles of grinding compound still left in there that might allow it to not fully close, or it might leak a little bit. But we've done our best to clean it out.